Hello, my name is Nicholl, and thank you so much for stopping by my page. I just wanted to take this time to talk about Laboring to Love an Abusive Mate. In the past, I've talked about this book, and I'm talking about it again because I noticed that I've been having quite a few young people, and we're talking about people under the age of 30, stopping by my page. Thank you so much. I am talking about Laboring to Love an Abusive Mate because usually when 21-year-olds are out there having a good old time with their friends and just enjoying life, the last thing they're doing is having to fight in a relationship. Okay? When I was 21, I found myself over a 9-month period literally having to fight, physically fight a person who I was with. I did not realize that this person had my mind in such a way that I felt like I couldn't get out the relationship. And I know people have problems trying to understand that. How in the world do you get yourself involved in a relationship where you can't get out of it? Well, if a person knows how to press the right buttons, find your weaknesses, um, you didn't have a great relationship with a certain parent, then they somehow become like a father figure, if you will. Okay? It happens. Okay? At the time, I was a college student. I was on the dean's list. Um, I had a couple jobs. I had, so I thought, a great guy that I had met. I figured because he was 10 years older than me, he was mature and he knew a lot. But boy, was I wrong. If anything, while I was looking for maturity, he was looking for immaturity. He was looking for a good time. He was looking for his fountain of youth. Okay? And see, I talk about this particular subject matter today because some of you all, you want to date that older man. And this wasn't the only older man that I had got myself involved with in my 20s. There were other men who I dated, went out, got a bite to eat, what have you, talked on the phone. They were 10 years older, later in life, 15 years, 18 years, different people along the way, 16 years, age difference. And after a while, when you start attracting, because it wasn't like I was going out here looking for older men, but when you attract a certain age group, you have to wonder, what is it about you? What is it about me that these men wanted to date somebody who was in their 20s and meanwhile they're in their 40s and 50s? And one man, he was in his 70s when I was in my 30s and he wanted to go out on a date. Now, I didn't do that. I didn't go out on a date with him. I did have my limits. But anyway, so laboring to love an abusive mate. I stuck around because I basically felt sorry for him. I really did. This was a man who had a hard life. He told me about his mom. He told me how, he saw a lot of crazy stuff that went on with her. His dad wasn't in his life. He had a stepfather, So I felt bad. I just wanted to be a friend. I just wanted to love him. I just wanted to, tell him that everything was going to be okay. And, I bought stuff for him. I listened to him vent, did everything I possibly could intimately, but no, that wasn't going to keep me from getting hit upside the head, choked, smothered with a pillow, having a fight one day to the point where glass was broken and blood was showing up. And then ultimately in the book, I talk about the final battle. And I'm not going to get into that right now because it's just one of those things that after a while, for so many years, I've talked about it to the point where it's getting just, I don't know, tiring. But I do want to talk about the issues that young women face when it comes to dating men, more specifically older men. And I do get into some of that on tipsdatingoldermen.blogspot.com. And that particular site, I don't know how long I will keep it, but I do get into some of the challenges that young women face. And one challenge is simply what I mentioned earlier, immaturity. There are older men who can see an immature, gullible, naive, young, wish daddy was in her life kind of female, and he plays on that. He wants to be the father figure. He wants to be her lover. He wants to be everything to her. But of course, all of what he does for her doesn't come without a price. Whether she has to give him some sex, whether she has to help him with his projects, or just do whatever else he wants. Okay, some men, they specifically target young women because there are so many that are so easy. Then there are young women out here who just want to be loved. They want to be loved, and then there are, of course, good men out there that want to love them. And but sometimes it just doesn't happen that way. Sometimes she has some hiccups, some hang-ups, and a little bit of everything else going on with her. And sometimes she finds out that he's got a whole lot of baggage. And the exes don't want to go away, and the children don't like her, and the in-laws are looking at her with this little look like, who does she think she is? And so you've got to figure out whether or not being with that person is worth all of that. I will tell you from personal experience that if you are a successful young person who likes to do a lot of things, don't settle. Don't settle for someone who is more like this. The type of individual that doesn't want to go places, doesn't want to do too much, wants to just kind of sit back and, live his or her life on the couch. I'm telling you, before you know it, you'll look up. The gray hairs will be there. The lines will show up on your face. And before long, you will wonder what happened to time. I should have done more with my life. And when I was in that abusive experience with that individual, I will tell you, it seemed like I grew up a lot faster than I wanted to at the time. When I look back, it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth giving this person 9 days, let alone 9 months. Because it took over 10 years for me to get my head on straight and get rid of a few personalities that I had inherited as a result of taking the abuse. Because, oh yeah, you do inherit certain demonic spirits when you put yourself in positions that are violent. And you do inherit what some people like to call angels, or people who protect you, spirits, whatever. Whatever you want to call it, it's not worth it. The minute you start seeing the weird signs, he wants to tell you where to go, who to see, asking you a bunch of questions about your personal life, and doesn't let up when you don't want to talk about certain things. He's always making himself available to you. He seems like he's kind of porchy. He has a way of acting that is controlling. Sometimes you feel like you got more of a father than a lover. Run. Get away. Get away. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Are there young people out there that act mature? There is. But sometimes we don't give ourselves enough time. We just don't, because, well, he was the one that showed up. He was the one that acted interested. He was the one that spent the money. He was the one that took up time when the younger guy didn't really have much time. Well, did you really give him any time to get to know you before you kicked him off to the curb? Laboring to love an abusive mate. if you got the book already, I will be on page 28. And this particular poem is called One Step Ahead. And that's what you have to be as a young person wanting to get out here and date people that are older than you. You've got to be one step ahead. You've got to ask yourself, what experience do I have? What am I bringing to the table? Do I have a team of counselors around me that's going to keep me ahead of this individual? Because like I said, a mature individual has a lot of experience. He's been around. He knows what buttons to push. He knows how to wine and dine. He knows how to go places where he can't be seen by the exes or by the one he's currently with. But sooner or later, lies are going to catch up to him. And you don't want to be the immature, crazy person ready to slash his tires and beat him up and do all sorts of things when you find out that he's a player with a lot of tricks up his sleeve. You want to be the self-controlled one, the individual that walks away from it and says, okay, lesson learned. I'm not going to fall for that foolishness anymore. One step ahead. So wouldn't you like to get to know me? Call me, take me out, travel with me, learn my day-to-day schedule, know my likes and dislikes, share in my interests, discover my family history, join in my social functions, all so you can revel in the challenge of achieving and receiving my attention, my affection, my love, my body, my bleep, and be gone. When he first approached you, and I'm talking about the one that you are interested in or are in a relationship with, when he first approached you, what do you remember about him? Once you were alone and thought about him, did you feel at any time that maybe you shouldn't contact this person? When I met the man who I will call Devin, I left his phone number on my desk for almost 2 weeks before I called him. I actually asked a relative, should I call him? Looking back, it would have been better to throw the phone number away. I hadn't completely let go of past negative experiences with men. And that is why I say give yourself some time in between these relationships, young people, because you will bring baggage and more baggage into a relationship with someone, and before long, that person's looking at you like, where did all this come from? Especially when you're in an argument. Now, who are you today? And what's going on with you? And why you act like that? And then if you're the individual who wants to take on this individual who you know has issues, whether they're unresolved or resolved, you've got to be patient, and you've got to be a loving person and kind and willing to understand and give them the attention that they need. But if you're not that type of individual, you don't need to be involved with anyone, because all of us have issues. Some more than others. I'm going to read another poem. Please go to page 42 of Laboring to Love an Abusive Mate. It's called Angel. I don't know why God put you in my life, and I'm afraid to question why. It seems as if I'm your angel made to touch your life. My purpose to provide a building block of happiness and then vanish. I can only wonder where my next stop will be. I can only hope that you will be able to stand on your own when I'm gone. Now this poem gives you a glimpse of what my mindset was like at that particular time. Now mind you, when I wrote these poems, I was in the abusive experience. Okay, we're not talking about somebody who was already out the relationship and got free and then said, okay, yeah, we're going to start writing a book. No, when I wrote these poems, I was in the abusive experience. I didn't put the book together until years later, but the poems sat in a binder just waiting for a book. That is how I was able, I guess, to reason that it was okay to be in a relationship sometimes, because I would write these positive little poems to kind of help me through. And so I somehow in my mind thought that I was an angel to him. If I could just give him everything that he needed, that it would keep his hands off of me, violently, and that he would just see that I was just the best person for him and that everything would be okay. And I even went so far as to watch how I talked to him. There was a point where I went from being like really argumentative and yelling and screaming to being this very docile and quiet person that it was okay, all right, whatever you say. And then somehow I got my strength back again, and I said, no, I'm not going to tolerate this foolishness anymore. And that is when the last battle took place that left both of us scarred for the rest of our lives. So I have a little thought-provoking piece at the bottom of the poem. What we think God has put in our lives isn't always so, you see. In some cases, he will allow the devil to come and disturb our peace if it is a part of his divine plan. Now let me stop right there. That's how I started taking more of an interest in God, was having gone through this experience, believe it or not. It took me having to become so broken mentally and physically to draw near to the Lord. Some of us are just hard-headed individuals. We could come to the Lord the easy way. God chooses us and we just start walking the righteous path. Or we can come the hard way. And in my case, I came the hard way. And you can read the book of Job if you want to get an idea of some of the drama that God will put you through. Or allow the enemy to put you through, I should say. Reading on, however, oftentimes we are being told to stay away from a person, place, and thing, yet we ignore his voice and will have to pay the consequences. Remember the story of King David in the Bible? You see, sometimes we get these warnings about people, but yet we continue to be in their presence anyway. And I'm not saying that we get what we deserve, because nobody deserves to be punished. But what I am saying is that if you keep running with the same clique, with the same fool, then eventually that mess that they're in is going to start falling on you, and you're going to have to start finding a way to clean yourself off. And I'm telling you, some things don't go away easily. You can't just take a soap and a rag and I'm fine. You can't just, I'm going to go to the church and get baptized in Jesus' name and I'm going to be all right. No. All right, one more poem. I'm going to part 5, and this is page 57. There's a lot of things that go on in violent relationships, and one thing that happens is you leave because you recognize initially that you're in a bad place, but then you come back, and this is what happens. Back and forth with some people, and that's what happened to me. Now, mind you, I wrote these things when I was in the mess. Okay? The title of this poem is He Sold Me on Change. No longer do I want to be alone. No longer do I want to sleep at night dreaming of my past, a self without direction. For I want to live for the future and smile because I'm happy inside with myself and my life. Desires to own my own world and please others. No longer do I want to make others cry and wipe my own tears. I don't want pain, sadness, and anger. I clench my fists and puff up my chest. I know I will be eaten up by my own self-destruction. I plant my feet strong and open my heart to what folks say is God's love, and I try to believe He hears me. Lord, I'm sacrificing myself unto you, my mind clouded with confusion, and my heart yearns for understanding. Work on me, Lord. I'm calling out in a language I don't understand. The devil's to the left, and the Holy Spirit is waiting on the right. Your power, O Lord, is all over me, but I don't know how to receive. I'm slipping, but I'm rising. I'm following, but I'm straying. I'm caressing, but I'm grabbing. I'm starving, but I'm satisfied. The questions. What, Lord? What do you want me to do? How do you want me to act? Everybody's telling me something, but everybody's not doing something. Help me, O Lord, to understand and get off my knees and walk and talk in love. Teach me to appreciate you and let go of all my selfish ways. Help me to stand strong in your eyes and run from weakness. Let me, O Lord, into your kingdom. Show me, teach me, love me. The thought-provoking piece at the end of this poem says, after receiving a church invite, Devin thought it would be best for the both of us to attend church. I agreed. Attending service temporarily kept his hands off of me. And he actually looked as if he was changing. However, I was taken by the Holy Spirit one day during service. I had walked the aisle and had given my life to Christ. Members of the church and elders witnessed me baptized in water in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. I was ready to make some radical changes in my life, and I knew I wouldn't be able to make them without a fight. And that is why I ended up having that last battle, because that's what it took for me to stop making the foolish decisions. When it came to this particular relationship, going back, leaving, going back, leaving, going back. I'm telling you, everybody's entitled a second chance, okay? Because sometimes we mess up. We do things we shouldn't. In a healthy relationship, in a functional relationship. But in a dysfunctional relationship, absolutely not. Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth chance. They got all those chances with all those past people they were involved with. Life is too short, my friend, under 30. Life is too short. Don't allow someone to steal your youth. Don't allow these fools out here to take you for a ride. They play games with your mind. They systematically tell you things like, I love you, after sex. They will give you money and gifts and all sorts of things to overcompensate for their lack, whatever their lack is. Lack of affection, lack of attention, lack of whatever. Sometimes you find out things way too late. In this particular relationship, one thing I did not do was slip on the birth control. If you're going to be in a violent relationship, you don't want to slip on the birth control. I don't care if the man tells you, I will take care of the baby and I always wanted a little mini me that looks like, no. Protect yourself. Protect yourself. If you're not ready to leave, at least protect yourself. At least take some of that money instead of buying it on using it to buy, hair and nails and, clothes and all of that. Save your money. Do something that will help you come up higher. I'm telling you, it's just not worth it. It is not worth the foolishness that comes along with getting involved with somebody who systematically manipulates you because he wants a little something different. I remember hearing that back in the day. Oh, I just want to try something different. I'm not a car. I'm not a thing that you just try. And mind you, a lot of these individuals that I knew back then, they did not get any type of intimacy from me. I remember one man, he was upset because I wouldn't kiss him. Oh well, I'm not kissing you. I remember another man, he was upset because I wouldn't go to the hotel with him. Another man, he was upset because I wouldn't do certain things with him in his car. I'm not doing these things. Because, well, I do have some degree of standards. I mean, I know you think that young people are stupid because some older men, they think just that. They think that young women are gullible, naive, and stupid. And you want to be that individual that says, no, you got the wrong one. Watch how you dress. Watch the way you talk. Don't try to act older when you know it's not in you to act older, because that's a dead giveaway too. They can see through that. Oh, she's trying. Okay, amuse me, sweetie. Amuse me, honey. Then you get some individuals who they got their older women that they're dealing with on the side, and they're telling you that they're working late, or they're telling you that That's just my friend. When you discover little things, when you find out stuff like that, you back off. You live your life. And if he really wants you, if he really respects you, he'll come after you. He'll pick up the phone. He'll look you up. He'll even hook you up. And you won't even have to do anything. But smile. Oh well, that's enough talking for today. Please do get Laboring to Love an Abusive Mate. It's especially if you have gone through domestic violence or you know someone who is going through a bad relationship. Please do get the book. It is one of those timeless books. It doesn't matter how old this book gets. It is still useful to individuals out there who are going through. Thank you so much for listening. Also, check out the blog, Laboring to Love an Abusive Mate.blogspot.com. I talk about other abuses, everything from emotional abuse to sexual abuse. Well, thank you once again, and to God be the glory.